All right, I'm gonna put who comes first for my poll. The YouTube Shorts is back up. Who comes first? God or Trump? Or who do you serve first? Who do you serve first? God or Trump? There you go. Whew. I'm getting like back pain from streaming so much. I might have to find a way to alleviate it. I need a real like streaming setup for real. Someone voted Trump, but God equal Trump equal God. True. Thank you for all the very kind donations. You're making this show run. I'm celibate. All leftists need to tell everyone they know the truth and be fearless about it. I think, yeah, but we need to pick our... It's all about framing. It's all about the narrative that you're a part of. You need to have the right narrative to approach this stuff. I'm going to talk to Tom Fullery if you know him for a few minutes. Nintendo! Woohoo! Hello.
Crap, I gotta change my settings real quick.
Sounds good.
Speakers. Okay, say something.
Howdy.
There we go. How's it going?
It's going. It's going. The news is breaking my brain. I think I need to take a detox this weekend, but I'm doing all right. How about you?
Doing all right. I was your shorts chat and I saw that you just restarted. Are you having the same problems that I'm having with it?
Usually if I see the algorithm's dead, I just restart it. So like when you're streaming with your shorts
What I
and
used to
your
do as well. But I've
yeah,
done it many times. And like the other day when it first started, I restarted it numerous times. And now every time that I've started with it, it literally, it literally seems like it has a cutoff at 13. So if all of my normal viewers go to my normal chat, then it will only like allow like 13 people in, and that is where it has peaked. And I mean every single stream, it has peaked at 13. Every single one, 12 to 13, one of those two. But that's where it peaks. It's 12 to 13 every single time. The only one time that it didn't do that is when I chose to only stream through the shorts chat on my phone, and I had all of my viewers over there, so there were already about like 30 40 50 of them over there, and then it allowed, yeah, I don't know, I don't know how many, like maybe 10 15 more people, but a lot of the people that I haven't seen since I've started having this problem started popping up that day. But yeah, outside of that, if I don't do it through my phone and don't have everybody go over to the shorts chat, then it just doesn't work.
yeah, I would also say that I'm doing like every day I'm choosing the most aggressive clickbait, whatever's in the news. I literally look up what the top like 5 search results are, put that in the bio, and then make a title that's just like the typical TikTok debate bro thing, where people call in, and I'm doing like very pointed streams for 1 hour or 2 hour gaps where I'm looking at that, like the graph go up and down, and I'm essentially seeing like, okay, when I peak at 100 viewers or 200 viewers, I need like an entertaining caller on, because that's what people really come to. That's what people are gonna like stay for. So if I don't hit that point though, I restart right away. But if you're gonna do more content that's more like I don't know, debate reviews or video reviews, then I when I do that, my short stream is usually a lot smaller. So I don't know if that's why like the
Really,
engagement
those are
level
some
is
of the
different on
best for
that.
me. Yeah, no, those
Yeah,
have
I
always
don't
been some
know.
of the best for me. So like debate reviews are things that get like the most like longevity. Like I'll be able to keep people for like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours as long as I just keep like doing debate reviews. But it'll like hover around like 150 viewers on that. Whereas if I do call-ins, well, during call-ins, it'll sit around like somewhere between 3 to 500. And so, but those like obviously the call-ins aren't going to last for 5, 6 hours. And so you kind of um like it'll teeter top between those where like I'll take some call-ins, then go to a review, so it'll drop from like 500 to 150 to 200, and then like eventually maybe I'll take another call-in, so it'll jump back up from 200 to like 500, and then once the call's done, back from 500 to 200, and it was just always teeter-totters like that. So yeah, it's been
Yeah.
strange.
I think I also yell a lot more than you do. Like I'm also a much more much more lib, yell, mad, emotional liberal that they want to make fun of, I feel like. So I don't know if I welcome the troll audience, and I'll like I have bots in the chat. Well, not really bots, but viewers of the channel with second accounts that purposely start fights to spur the chat to move quicker. So that it can get more viewers in the algorithm. So there's a bunch of different things like that. But I did hear that some channels get like shadow banned if you get like copyright strikes ever, or if the video topics are like changing a lot. But I'm not really sure because sometimes YouTube
Well,
has
what
has
do
an
you
issue like knowing where to put you on the internet.
do you know what the gifts are? Do you have gifts turned on?
Gifts like the gems and stuff.
Yes.
No, I got them once probably.
Well, I mean, I'm asking, do you have it turned on? So like you
Yeah,
have
it's
to
on.
turn it on. Okay, so when I turned mine on, that's when everything dropped off. But I do remember that like the first time I tried shorts chat, it just didn't work. It wasn't doing anything. But then eventually I uh did a couple of streams. I did 2 streams in a row where there was only shorts chat, nothing else, only shorts chat, which made everybody have to go over to the shorts chat. And because there were a lot more people watching for a lot longer period, then it just started popping off from there. And then after that, I didn't have to make them suffer through all those fuckers, and they were able to go back to the regular chat, and it was, yes, it was popping off again. So we were able to just do without that. But yeah, now like those people keep telling me they're not even able to find me anymore. I don't pop up in their recommended. They don't get notifications anymore. The like everything for Shorts chat is just completely cut off, and it seems like most of the people who find it are not finding it in the feed, but instead finding it like on the YouTube feed, not the Shorts feed.
Yeah, I feel like also all my titles are like Trump is terrible, Trump hates black people. Like it's gonna be like really aggressive clickbait. And like I said, like if you're doing hardcore call-ins, I think it'd probably be higher. But I'm also doing like the phone number, talk to regular people stuff. So I get a lot of callers who are
Yeah,
just
but
like
like,
typical
dude,
white
my
dudes.
average watch time on there now is like 12 to 17 minutes. Like before it was
Oh, that's
like
crazy. Yeah,
1 and a half. Yeah. So now it's like really high because
he
yes,
got
they're
shadow
just
banned.
not
They
getting
shadow
fed to
banned you.
anybody. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know how to fix it. There's a guide on how to get unshadow banned on YouTube, but I don't know if they're like fake videos or not. But there is definitely a shadow ban feature to it.
Okay. So the hearings, did you go through those yet?
Yeah, I watched Kash Patel. I watched a little bit of Tulsi. I watched a lot of RFK. Um, so yeah, I watched all the really interesting ones. I did not watch Seth though.
Well, I just meant like the ones today.
Oh yeah, the ones
I
today. I
I
saw
only
at least 2 out of 3.
Okay. Yeah, I normally watch the entire thing, but since they had 3 going today, there's no way I'm gonna be able to
I thought that
watch
was
that
purposeful,
much.
low
Cash
key.
Patel's Yeah, maybe. Cash Patel's by itself went 6 hours. So, there's no way that I can watch all of these today when Cash Patel's alone went 6 hours. So, I'm just kinda going over a lot of clips, but he I watched some of him, like, dodging questions um about the, fuck, I always blank on this term. Um, the classified documents. They were asking him how he testified about the classified documents. And when they asked him, he just kept saying, "Oh, well, I would love for you to get those court reports released, to get the transcript released, because they won't release it." And they're like, "Well, it's not classified, so you can answer this question. How did you testify in the court case as to, Donald Trump signing signing uh, to declassify documents?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm as I said, you should get those transcripts released, and I stopped and thought, wait a second, this is why I just realized Donald Trump did sign a ton of executive orders to declassify things like the RFK stuff, the JFK assassination, the MLK assassination. Like, he just signed all of these executive orders to declassify all this stuff. Why did he sign executive orders to declassify it instead of just thinking that they were declassified? Isn't that all he has to do, is just think things in order for them to be declassified?
Yeah, according to, I mean, oh god, this is a whole thing where
According to him and his lawyers, yeah, according to him and his lawyers, he just has to think it. So why this time did he sign executive orders to declassify it when
well,
he
this is my mental
says
health deterioration
it was
that's happening right
thinking?
now. So like Kash Patel talking to Amy Klobuchar, for example, they had this back and forth, and another senator was asking about like the pills he put out, the anti-vax, anti-shedder, anti-mRNA pill that helps you shed the vaccine or whatever. Completely fake, obviously, supplement, all that kind of stuff. He just lied about it. He lied about the January 6th choir thing. He lied about literally every statement. And the Republicans know he's lying. And just seeing people know they're lying and being so, like, I don't know, just being so proud and powerful with it, knowing that the public is going to believe them, is so painful. And like RFK, bro, when RFK went on a rant today, telling Bernie Sanders to his face that Bernie Sanders is bought out by Big Pharma and he's corrupted by Big Pharma,
Oh
watching
my
that and hearing
goodness.
people clap, bro, that broke my, as a former Bernie bro who still like has a special place in my heart for him, like seeing that actually made me like I don't know, it made me nauseous. The idea that people are that brainwashed to think Bernie Sanders is Bernie Sanders is pro Big Pharma. Imagine believing that. Like the reality you need to exist in that's created by these people is insane, dude.
Yeah, well, that's part of the thing that we were going over yesterday, is the fact that they're saying that he is like bought and paid for by Big Pharma. But then when like you look at it, he's made $1 million in total off like all lobbying and everything in, I think it was 30 plus years,
It's
30
all under
plus years
$200 donations too. Yeah.
in government. Yeah, like it's insane that like they think that that is a sign of some sort of corruption there. They're like, and this is again what a lot of people do is, even in general, there was a while back, about 5 years ago, where Vox was putting out a bunch of videos showing that like this is how much people make from lobbyists, and look at how poorly they're voting for, things on having to do with medicine, and having to do with pharmaceuticals, having to do with oil, having to do with this and that. These are the ones who pay the most within, you know, uh, all lobbying. But then you go and look at it, and it turns out that the people who were lobbying against all of those companies, against the pharmaceuticals, against the oil companies and everything, paid the same amount. They paid the same exact amount. And so there was no like there were tons of studies to like debunk what it was that Vox put out, to show that the more money donated, that did not correlate with which direction that people were likely going to vote in. So it ended up being just like a completely bullshit narrative that they pushed, and people to this day still think that like the more money donated means the more likely they're going to vote in a certain direction, and that's just not the case for the average of Congress. I'm sure there's probably some people who do that, but that's just not the case in general.
Yeah, and obviously like even for pharmaceutical companies, RFK is anti-pharmaceutical because he's an anti-vaxxer, and Bernie is because of the profit motive. So obviously that's very different. But also the biggest worry for me is how seamlessly people in my life who are not online believe. For example, we sent a billion condoms to Hamas, so they made condom bombs, heat-seeking specialized condom bombs to fly through the air. And obviously that was from Doge that reported that. That's insane. People believe that right away. And also today, the DEI with the plane. And I saw a big debate on Twitter that's been going on, especially with the part of the internet that has like counterpoints and WIC. I saw a couple of posts with them. I think they're having a panel about it, about how much you can just like, because we know, for example, it's not right to go blame someone right when something happens. And I said that last night, but I put up a short about like blaming Trump for like not doing anything with the FAA, not participating in the presidential transition, which is going to leave a already like understaffed industry or sector for or airspace controllers. Those people are going to be understaffed already, and then if Trump's going to do a freeze and do buyouts, it's going to affect that. I put out a video just saying that for the future warnings, and I was yelled at for being too political by my own subscribers. My own subscribers said it was bad optics, and then in the morning, Trump comes out and says it was the DEI, the blacks and the disabled. That's the reason it happened. It's like, and then he says, bro, he says he's not going to visit the site. He's going to visit families, but he's not going to visit the site. He's like, where's the site at? The water? What am I going to do? Go swimming? And it's like, bro, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting self-policed by my community and by liberals and by progressives when we have to like fight differently now. I don't know if you disagree with that or not, but
I mean, I do disagree, like, obviously, to an extent. I think that a lot of people are looking at, like, shit. So, like, what's happening with Destiny right now? A lot of people keep coming out and they're like, dude, if this was, somebody in MAGA, this would have just made them more popular. They would have just said that this is some, like, e-whore, some slut that's coming after them and trying to get a money grab or whatever. And so the fact that the liberals are even willing to like cancel one of their own people and take them down and ruin them when this is one of their best and brightest and one of the people who's really like doing the most for like, center left liberals, that they're willing to just completely ruin them. It's really fucked up. And I'm like, wait, that's why we're on the side. Like, if we weren't willing to call these people out, if we weren't willing to make a big deal about this shit, then why would we be on this side? Like, why
I
would
agree,
we?
like holding
Why would
Destiny
we
accountable.
defend this?
I think it's different just in the sense of we're talking about like steps Trump is doing to kill government programs. And we know that aircraft collisions is going to be much more likely under Trump's future, where he wants to privatize the TSA, cut down the FAA, remove these regulations, understaff everywhere, as said in Project 2025. So us just saying like, hey, we're just going to blame this on Trump because he has it frozen. The aircraft, the air controllers are saying we need more people. They're freezing hiring. They're freezing onboarding. They're paying federal workers to quit. So we can tie it back to Trump in some way. And I just don't understand. And this is the big debate, really, because I see what you mean by the Destiny thing, and I disagree with those people, especially with like even today, new messages came out that made me think like, wow, Destiny is actually a sex addict, but he just can't really confront that. Definitely a sex addict, by the way, 100% a sex addict. He needs help, like unironically. But also, just in general, the messaging, I don't know how to compete, with people that'll lie through their teeth, other than if we need something bad to happen, because sometimes you just need something bad to happen for people to run back to like democracy. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, that is, again, like during Trump's first administration, he lost the next election because COVID happened. Like it was just a fluke accident, just a fluke thing. People were unhappy, and that not only COVID, but Black Lives Matter as well, and all the protests that were happening. And everybody just looks at who's in charge and they blame them, and now they're upset and vote for somebody new because they're just unhappy with the way that things are. Um, and then Biden had the same thing where like he had a lot of inflation from COVID, and then we were the first to recover from COVID, which made it to where like all other countries are flooding over to our borders and trying to get in to, you know, be in a country where they can actually afford things and where their money actually means something. And this just caused like so many problems for the whole country to where people were just upset, they weren't happy, and so they wanted to vote somebody else in. Um and I feel like this, Trump getting back in isn't a sign of new times. It's not a sign of like some shift to the right or anything. It is just kind of how these things work. There's always going to be like a back and forth in these areas, and there's not um there's not much that you can like do to stop that from being the case. I don't think we need something outside of like, just like random fluke natural disasters or shit like that. Like that's just the sort of stuff that makes elections flip, and I'm not praying for that sort of thing to happen. I don't
Yeah,
want
no.
that to
I just
happen.
hope Americans
While
can vote in
Donald
a certain
Trump is
direction
in
when
the
they see
middle
it
of
fail.
ruining well, yeah, I mean, well, I was gonna say while he's in the middle of like ruining our economy and ruining all of our partnerships with our allies, and just like showing how inept he is um, when it comes to his geopolitics stances, like I don't want that to all like ruin the country in the way that it's looking like it might
Well, I would say
because
one big thing
uh,
though is that like in Project 2025, they have it very explicitly written out that they want to make sure they do this all, but in a very slow way to make sure that people can adjust socially to get consent. So like removing Social Security and Medicare, they want to intentionally do this in a very slow burn. I think Trump's going a little bit too fast with it, and these leaders typically do that. But yeah, that's the intent: is to go as slow as possible, make it seem normal, try to normalize as much as you can, make every government industry or government agency die as much as possible, blame the government, privatize it, and once it's privatized, that's their, that's a key part of their, of their mission. And one of the big issues that I see is everyone complaining about grocery prices, or at least a lot of them. Everyone that I know personally, and everyone that I've seen on the internet, who complain about egg prices killing their families because they couldn't feed their kids, all of those people are no longer caring at all. I've heard people say, you know what, I pay higher prices for Trump because he has a plan, and I think the tariffs are going to work. They don't know what that means, but they love Trump, and they will pay more. So I feel like Americans are so disconnected, and I don't want to sound too like it's not even like a socialist thing, but it's just like material conditions. People are so disconnected from what, like, having a lack of, and this is a liberal principle too, having a lack of government, or having a lack of clean air, clean water, having a lack of airport security, having a lack of aviation safety. They don't know what that's like anymore. And having a lot of Americans do have a lot of money to spend. That's why inflation does go kind of crazy. That's why we're having a lot of credit being access to spend money on entertainment and stuff, because Americans do have terrible buying habits. So it takes a lot to really affect Americans economically. But if Trump does it in a way that's able to keep like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, CHIP, and a bunch of other different programs intact, he might be able to keep on slowly burning off the government and privatizing it without getting people too riled up about it. And he could pass a law about elections, and we need to see if anyone's gonna stop them. And once Kash Patel's in, Tulsi's in, Pete Hegseth is in, once they have the full intelligence agency and military, I'm also concerned what they're gonna do to us. People that are just on the internet talking bad about talking the truth and talking bad about what they're doing. It's a lot.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I've said a bunch of times, like I still have like a lot of faith in our criminal justice system, and I think that the Supreme Court has shown numerous times that they're not willing to just go along with whatever bullshit it is that Trump wants. In like the best example of that is the fact that he wasn't able to get them to vote in favor of all this like election stealing bullshit that they were trying to push. All of those got thrown out immediately, but then all of the cases against Trump that were appealed, where they were like, this isn't fair, they shouldn't even be allowed to charge him for this, blah blah blah, they upheld all of those charges. They allowed those court proceedings to go through. Then even when they gave him broad immunity, all of those charges were reworked and then sent back through the lower courts, and then again were substantiated and continued their cases. And so it just, yeah, it shows that like all of these people, even though they are Trump appointees and there may be a lot of decisions that they've made that people disagree with, I don't think that it's to the extent that they'll be willing to help him with stuff like that. And they've already stopped him on like a lot of the more treasonous shit. So
Well, we're gonna see, because classifying the cartel as a terrorist group, saying we're under invasion as their argument for birthright, that could have major consequences, even if the Supreme Court says no to it, in terms of national emergency power and the military, and martial law, things like that. That stuff can radically shift, and the law doesn't stop everything. They don't need to listen to the law. Our final like pillar really is democracy. It really is workers. It really is people like being willing to strike if it gets that bad in certain industries, in certain areas, like federal workers right now being told to be bought out, or like being offered buyouts. It seems a little bit sketchy. It's a little bit too good to be true, but that's intentional with Project 2025. So I'm just hoping we maintain enough integrity in our system to stay stable. Before I take my calls for my stream, I want to ask you one question. Okay, I've been using a term in response to TDS. Do you support calling people Trump sexuals?
I guess I mean I don't really I don't it does I'll say it does it I don't know. It's not a term that I would ever use. Like generally I think the thing that like I've made a much bigger deal about is the fact that their like entire identities are just wrapped up in being Trump voters, that like
Mm-hmm.
but then they're always whining and crying about the fact that like people would attack them just for their identities, and that their whole identity is wrapped up in this. They'll put the signs in their yard, they'll wear the hats, they'll wear the shirts, that the first thing they say when they come in the chat is, Trump 2024, MAGA 2024, like everything just exudes like, see me for who I am. I am nothing but just
A
a
follower,
Trump
yeah.
NPC be just yes, that is their whole identity. Their entire lives are wrapped up in just being a Trump follower and just being part of MAGA, and that this is but this is like also the point when you start talking about like trans people and like, oh, they're just being attacked just for their identities and the way that they like, the way that they present themselves, the way that they go out in public, like, oh, they're just around people and all of a sudden they're just being stigmatized and being treated differently and having trouble getting jobs or just going out and doing normal everyday things just because of their identity. And like, it just kind of aligns with their fucking victim narrative on their shit. But like they don't seem to realize the hypocrisy on the two sides. And so yeah, I've definitely made a bigger deal about the identity bullshit.
Yeah, I guess I use Trump sexual because it makes them like insecure. It like encapsulates that they're being like, I don't know, kind of gay for Trump, like the homoeroticism and the paternalism. They call him daddy. You know what I mean? They call him daddy. They're asking for
They
it.
do. They do.
It make
They
it seem
call
weird
him
because
daddy a lot.
making the other side seem weird is how they win. Making it seem cool to be on your side, making it seem like fun. So I've been trying to experiment with a couple different versions of saying that. But yeah, I definitely agree with the whole personality thing, and that's what I would talk to Andrew about too if I end up talking to him. It's really just about how it's a cult following of betas looking for their king beta to destroy the world because they want to bring it back to a point where they can actually compete. Because they can't, they don't want to adapt, they don't want to work hard, they don't want to be Jordan Peterson and clean the room. They don't want to get better. They want to just like they're mad about modern society. They gave up on improving. They want to bring it back to their Galileo conservatism, and to a world where they win by default. So yeah, I definitely want to keep continuing those conversations, but yeah.
Well, the debate with Andrew should be happening. I don't know if I'm going to host or what because I don't I don't I am I think a lot of times even though he said he's like he doesn't mind and he's like I'm always cool with you doing it. He um I think that lots of times people feel like the hosts or the like moderators are always like liberal or some shit and that they feel like it's a little unfair. And so um I might just like help you guys set it up and let y'all do it yourselves. We'll see. I'll probably put everybody in a chat together and then we'll figure it out. But we'll get a date later this week and then get more into the details then.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, definitely appreciate it. Yeah, even just facilitating, definitely appreciate it. Even if you want to be just like a muter, if things get extremely crazy, not really guiding the conversation, or doing anything except like shut up for a second and reroute that kind of thing. But we could probably manage on our own. But like I know he's a propagandist and only a propagandist, so it's all about rhetoric and that's a full rhetoric conversation. There's no logic to be had there. So it's gonna be really interesting for me
Um
because I haven't done many of those
I wouldn't
conversations
even
yet.
say that. I wouldn't even say it's a rhetoric conversation. I would say like it obviously is like in a sense, but generally it's more of a like debate tactic
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
thing where like I went over this pretty like in detail the other day when I was going over him and Cenk Uygur like the differences the big differences between people like Rob Noor or somebody like um Andrew is that Rob is going to get into like very like minuscule details that you've never even heard of, kind of like Tim Pool, but Tim Pool is going to go off anecdotes, whereas Rob is going to like try to test your consistency with information that you've never even heard of and that you got to go
Yeah,
find and double check, and lots of times turns out to be misrepresented. But the with Andrew, it's going to be more about like the fundamentals of your argument and like and just finding something where it sounds like there might be some shaky ground there and then drilling down into that. And even if you eventually do get to a point where it is consistent and like he thinks it makes sense, he will say, "Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and I think that makes total sense." The problem is that you don't seem to understand is, and now he will very quickly move to something else where like because he's like doing this very like good faith thing, all of a sudden he was very quick to like pivot
yeah.
and
Optics
move
win too.
goalposts
Easy
and
optics
parts
win.
it
You look
and
like the person that's crazy because they're like, yeah, I'll be reasonable, and they'll bring up something like they force you into the. They try to force you into defending obviously the hardest part of your side to
well, it's not
defend, the
even that.
weakest argument. Yeah.
I think I think the bigger part is like staying on offense and making sure that you're not actually able to like get them to justify anything. So the whole time you're trying to justify everything, you're trying to make sense of everything, you're having to explain
Yeah,
all
it's
of
like
the
punting.
semantics, which the
Yeah,
semantics is like the biggest part. It's like they're like making a big deal about the
yeah.
semantics of like
It's like
whatever
January 6th
word.
is bad. Well, what
What
about
were you guys?
BLM? What about BLM and Biden pardoning everyone and blah blah blah? Yeah.
Well, what were you guys even arguing about? Because you tagged me in the thread, but I wasn't sure what you guys were even fighting about.
Because I wanted to make sure he followed through with it. I can find the original quote tweet. I honestly, I did not expect him to respond in point 0.5 seconds, but apparently he's an internet warrior, which I already knew. He's a paleoconservatism, so he's obviously online 24/7, like original values tell you to be. 1 second, let me find it really quick, because I really forget. I called him. Yeah, he said to Pisco, don't you have a sex ring to help cover up? And I said, Andrew Wilson worships the enemies of America and has proven time and time again he hates our Constitution. And then he responded, called me R word. Then I said, I'll get back to you tonight. And then his 50 goons messaged me saying that I ran from the debate because I wanted to wait until later to respond because I was out and I was busy. And then he did not respond after that. So I tagged you and Peace Code so he would see names. And also so you guys would see it and hold him to it because he made a really big public scene about he's gonna run from this conversation. I'm like, no, I'm just like a regular person. Sorry, you guys are terminally on the internet, but yeah,
Okay. So,
I'm on
but
the internet terminally too,
was
but I was
what?
busy that day.
But I'm saying,
Why
like,
he hates
what
the
is the
Constitution? Why
topic of
he
the
hates
debate supposed to be?
basically like why he hates American values. He's anti-American values. He's anti. I don't want to get too much into religion, but it is a point of like the paleoconservatism and also just like Judeo-Christian values, running away from Jesus. The point is to focus in ancient Hebrew or focus on Hebrew teachings and also like Old Testament, because that agrees with their ideology more. Because a lot of stuff Jesus said they really hate when it comes to egalitarianism. So I think just like talking to the audience about that, deconstructing what the movement actually means, that kind of stuff. But the topic is just going to be, I'm guessing, just in general, whatever's happening at the time.
Well, most of it's going to go through like American history and where like the founding fathers were when they're writing things like the Federalist Papers, the Anti-Federalist Papers, and their thought processes on things. And there's going to be a lot of quotes about like Jesus, like American, Christian country that's like, foundation is in God and shit like that. That those are going to be the things that they're like going to really make a big deal about and then say they're like, well, the direction that the country went, this is not like American values. Like we want like the American values that the Constitution was built on, not what everybody else went and turned it into and totally changed over time through a bunch of different like Supreme Court hearings and congressional changes. We want like what it was meant to be, and that's what we're trying to do. And so yeah, that's gonna be like the overall idea.
Yeah, I feel like it's arguing for the new, a lot of what's happening right now, which is why people are upset with Democrats not being. Hakeem Jeffries is he's like the leader of the Dems in the House, obviously, so he's talking a lot. They're very boring.
Mm.
They just want to return back to the institution days and then like how things used to be. But we are kind of
Oh, I
debating what
like
the new
Hakeem
social contract
Jeffries.
should be. So it really
I
is
like
like
Hakeem Jeffries.
challenging. What
He's
was that,
fucking
sir?
based. I like Hakeem Jeffries. He's based. He's
Yeah,
I
he's like
like he's like
he
Obama.
could be lovable if you don't need if it was not 2024 and we did not need like a multimedia messaging strategy, I would definitely like him more. But seeing his tweets and stuff is like, did you see the one where it's like, do not condone or whatever, God is on the throne or some shit? I forget what it was. It was so
No,
cringe.
but I think it's um I think that it's good. Like it's always been, I think, beneficial for Democrats to have like some Christian messaging, because even Biden had like a lot of Christian messaging as well as did Kamala, Obama, like all the Democrats have always
No,
had
I use Christian
a lot
messaging a
of
lot now.
Christian
I mean like
messaging
the
as well.
style. He's just like the style just does not hit. Like the media's messaging, they don't have good like graphic designers or like messaging strategies. Meanwhile, the right wing is pumping
I
like
mean,
25 tweets a
maybe
day.
for
It's
like
like
yeah, maybe for social media, but I think he's a very engaging speaker, and I think that he's done a really good job at doing something that I think like is necessary within the Democratic Party is making a really big deal about like, you know, respecting institutions, bringing back like patriotism, bringing back like pride in your country, like caring about the Constitution, caring about what it is that our founding fathers wanted this country to be, caring about like separations of powers, and just that these things are all what makes America great, and that we need to like really hold on to those tightly. And that when you look around, like Democrats are the ones who seem to be more pro-America. They're the ones who are more patriotic. They're the ones who are more willing to like accept the outcome of an election, and you know, move forward with like respecting whoever it is that's in charge. Like I think that he's done a really good job at like promoting those sorts of ideas, and that's something that I've wanted from Democrats for a while.
Yeah, I guess I just see them losing on those fronts, and a lot of the people are older. That's just not where the vibes are for like the as far as the median voter. They seem to be swayed by emotions and emotional arguments. So I just need, you know, the voices to be propelled in those parts of the party. At least in some sense, we need some fighters in these narrative spaces because the narrative is being completely held hijacked. But also, I do think Americans are suffering from a crisis of, you know, good times create weak men, but the weak men are always going to be the fascists when they say that quote. They're very insecure. That's why I think they hate Tim Walz, because they're insecure about Tim Walz. Because if they were Tim Walz, they'd feel gay or whatever. And they're really scared to show any emotions or be empathetic. You know, empathy is a sin, that kind of stuff. So I feel like we're having a
They're always
crisis
like
of like
obsessing over
what
like
Americans
other men's
mean. Like,
jaw lines and like men's shapes of their faces.
yeah, all
And
the gender affirming care all the Republicans get, like Matt Gaetz, like they obsess over it. They obsess over all the insecure parts of being a man, and I think that's really the forefront of this. They're mad about the minority groups because they don't have any, you know, they have the daddy issues and stuff. They really do. And I feel like having those conversations is a good thing, and Democrats have not done good on that front, and we don't have anyone to have conversations on that front. But also, it's hard to even say that because all the podcasts that are moving kids to the right or moving young adults to the right, like Joe Rogan and all that stuff, they're bought off. They're bought off. Like Joe Rogan's bought off. Theo Von's, but they're all bought off. Like I think Theo's a good guy or whatever, but they're all bought off. So I don't know. You know, it's hard to have that cultural area on the left. How to make it cool to be empathetic and cool to have discipline, because that's what Jesus taught. Jesus taught there was strength through inaction, strength through discipline. But now those values are gay and beta, and the values they want are just being dumb. Like they love being dumb. They think being dumb is a own. So I don't know how to make being like smart
they
cool
do.
again.
They literally complain about the fact that like people are going to college. They complain about the fact that people are educated. They complain about the fact that people are willing to better themselves, and like the fact that they're willing to get degrees, which makes it to where they're making almost
Oh, you
double
think I'm
anybody who's
dumb?
not getting a degree. Yes, but then they'll turn around and be like, I can't believe you're willing to treat us like we don't know anything when just because we're voting for Donald Trump. You keep saying we're uneducated.
And
You
it's like,
keep saying
dumbass, I want to
we're
raise your wages and give you health care.
uninformed.
They want to take away your health care. You're just mad about immigrants. So we're trying to direct you in a different direction that's more positive. Like yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I've had a bunch of people like when I mentioned a lot about the fact that like it is really hypocritical that MAGA keeps complaining about the fact that we are like pointing out their anti-intellectualism, and then the fact that they're crying about the fact that we're like then later saying like, yes, this is like the lower middle class, like uneducated group of people, that then they complain about it when that's what they're promoting. And I've had a bunch of MAGA people say, no, that is stupid. Like, no, we're like, we should be proud of being uneducated. Like we should be happy with this, and we should be like promoting being uneducated.
It's
And
just common sense, bro.
so
It's just common sense.
yeah, common sense. Yeah.
I'm scared. I mean,
Well,
my last thing is just the anti-intellectualism is always a sign that there's going to be death. Okay, like it really is. We had multiple senators tell RFK today that they're not going to vaccinate their kids after reviewing all the science, and I'm like, they're vaccinating their kids. They are doing it. I don't believe them. But the fact that multiple senators have said that publicly, the fact that the polio vaccine and measles rate is crashing down, I think it went down like 10% or 15% within 4 years. And it's growing, not exponentially, but it's growing at a very high rate as far as like how many parents are not vaccinating their kids. So we're probably going to be at like 60% vaccination rates in like 3 or 4 years, and then 40, and then whatever if we don't have some type of big pushback against the anti-vax movement. But also just in general, JD Vance saying that the professors are the enemy, the doctors are the enemy, the scientists are the enemy. Also the woke ideology, which is basically the Jewish ideology now that Hitler would have said, but it's woke ideology now in America. All that stuff combining, especially when the enemy is fake. That's when you have violence happening. If they deputize the Oath Keepers or deputize the Proud Boys, which they very well might, we're going to have a period in America, and just a warning for everyone, we're going to have a period that feels like a revolution in modern day America. Probably. Maybe. But it just like, it seems like we're heading there. I hope it doesn't, but something might go down. Something's going to go down. It just depends how big it is, honestly. But
Yeah, I don't know. I'm the stuff about, all of the pardons for the January 6th people, that drives me crazy. Like, that drives me insane that that's even, like, possible, that you would go and find all of the people who have committed some of the worst crimes against your country, some of the most treasonous people possible, some of the most violent people possible. Like, some of these people literally beat the shit out of cops that got pardons. They beat the shit out of cops. One guy beat the shit out of a female cop. After, like, clearing out, some of the guardrails to keep people out. He moved the guardrails to let everybody in, and then immediately ran and beat the shit out of a female cop. And it's crazy, actually. He was already on parole, got out of prison for beating the shit out of his girlfriend. And
yeah,
had just gotten out, and had a warrant for his arrest at the time for breaking into an old lady's house and beating the shit out of her, a pregnant woman.
jeez.
And so he's got three felonies there for beating the shit out of people, and all women. And this guy, let's give this guy a pardon. Like, makes so much sense.
Child predators too, multiple child predators. And that one guy, what did that guy do that got shot? You saw that one guy that got pardoned and then got killed by a cop? Did you see that?
He got pardoned and killed by a cop.
Yeah, he like got into a fight with a police officer literally, I think 4 days after being pardoned, and he got shot and killed. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna Google it real quick, see if I can find it.
I'm sorry, say that again. I had the TTS coming in.
It was Matthew Huddle. Look up Matthew Huddle. Huttle. This guy already had violent crimes, pardoned, and then got into a traffic stop right away and got killed by a cop because he's crazy, obviously. But
damn. Yeah, there's a woman that they call MAGA Granny. Because you hear all the time whenever you bring up January 6th, they're always saying, yeah, all these cops were willing to arrest all of these 70-year-old grandmas who went inside the Capitol, blah, blah, blah. Right? That's always what they use. But it was one woman over the age of 50. Like, there's one woman over the age of 50 who got arrested. And that one woman is who they call MAGA Granny. And she was offered a pardon and denied it and said, no, I'm not going to accept that. That would be disrespectful to our country. That would be somehow like acting as though what we did on that day is excusable, and it's not. It was wrong. We were wrong. President Trump is wrong for trying to give us pardons for this. We should pay our debt to society for what it is that we did on that day, and we need to move on afterwards. But if he's going to give everybody pardons, it seems like he doesn't actually understand how horrible what we did was. And so that's she literally rejected the pardon.
Dude, that Matthew Huddle I just told you about, he had a prior offense before the January 6th riots where he beat the crap out of a 3-year-old child. He had time served for beating up a 3-year-old child. Then January 6th, prison, pardoned, cop, and cop shot him at a traffic stop. So yeah, those are the people that Trump released into the violent crime that Trump put back into our neighborhoods. All the virtue signaling. I guarantee, dude, every person that calls into my show, every one of them has a direct experience with immigration now. It's hilarious. It's amazing. It's actually fantastic how they have a direct experience with immigration. Then they bring up only immigration stories that were nationally known. It's actually amazing how they all now. I just like feel like I'm talking to people all the time. And I love it when I meet someone who's like genuinely like asking for more answers. And those are my favorite callers. But like, there's some people where it's just like, I just want to hang up right away because I know they're ideologically driven. I know they're going to lie. And I'm just like, I don't want to live in this world where people are just like lying. And they say like, Trump lies. He talks shit just like every other. How do you answer that question, by the way? If someone says to you, like for example, Trump lied about FEMA directly. He lied about the California stuff. He lied about the DEI today for the plane. If someone says to you like Donald Trump is the same as all these other politicians, he shoots from the hip sometimes. Obama lied, Biden lied, Bush lied, Reagan, all of them lie at some point. It's the same. How do you typically respond to those like whataboutism or those comparisons?
It's that I just straight up saying like you're trying to whitewash things by both sidesing it. Just saying even if it was true that sometimes the other side does this thing, I can easily make the case that Donald Trump does it way more often than anybody else. One and two. That doesn't make it excusable. We should still call it out. We should still like stop these people from doing it. So if you want to have a conversation about Democrats doing these things after we finish with Trump, I'm happy to have that conversation. But if you're not even willing to like condemn the actions that he's committed already and talk about like whether or not he did them in the first place, I can't have a conversation with you about morals and what's right or wrong. If this is something that like you're unwilling to admit is bad, then like and you're just gonna excuse it by well everybody does it. Well that then like you're just somebody that I can't have a moral conversation with. Sorry. We
Yeah,
gotta
or
find
like
somebody
Nancy
else with
Pelosi with the
ethics.
compared to the meme coin, like Nancy Pelosi, her entire career with the real estate and stocks made like 1/10 of what Trump. We don't know the exact number that Trump got from the meme coin, but still, it's in the tone of billions of dollars, and it gives a direct access to pay Trump from
Well
any foreign country or
nobody's
whatever.
made anything yet.
Yeah, yeah,
Nobody's made anything yet because it's not sold yet,
potentially.
but yes, it's yes, it's very likely that
And
it's
it's not
going
like
to
we
be
can
sold
track it
off
either. We're
for a
not going to
billion
track it. They're getting rid of the SEC. They're getting rid of a bunch of other stuff. So it's going to be kind of crazy. The one policy I would say, too, when people say that both sides are corrupt, both sides are corrupt. The executive order Trump did, so Biden did the executive order that members of his cabinet could not receive gifts from, like, obviously, corrupting gifts. So money or trips or whatever. If you're in the cabinet under Biden, you could not receive gifts from any enterprise, any entity, any person, whatever. A very good anti-corruption executive order, which I think is awesome. Like that's great. Donald Trump, and that's all the executive order was. Donald Trump rescinded the executive order. He took it back. He broke it. So now he made it so that cabinet members can again receive gifts in the White House. So if someone says they're both equally corrupt, something as simple as that, like why did Biden put this into place? If he's as corrupt as Trump, why did Biden put this anti-corruption measure into place, and why did Trump feel the need to get rid of it? So I feel like getting key examples like that, that are super night and day, cut and dry, just like on or off switch, like black and white, whatever. Like those are the points we need to definitely write down and just keep pounding back on those for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even the stuff with Nancy Pelosi, from what I've looked at, she actually doesn't make I think it's her husband, and I think even he doesn't make like a well ab way above like what normal people make. So the idea is that they're like um that they're trading on inside information. But when you go look at like a lot of like the buys when they're being made and like when other people are getting in, what um what like information was out at the time versus what hadn't come out yet, like there's just nothing to go on. There's nothing to actually like go on. It's her husband where this is his entire job and he's just like apparently very good at yeah, trading his stocks. And so yeah, there's tons of analysis out there that shows that like there's not really anything funny going on there. It's just that they put a lot more money into this and spend a lot of time like looking this his whole job is to
Yeah.
be
Well,
looking
they
for
get. I
deals
mean,
for
they
other
definitely get
people. And
tips.
so
They're definitely more connected, obviously, to like business communities and stuff. But that doesn't mean direct insider trading, obviously. But I mean,
well, I
if you
mean,
could
yeah,
tie
they
policies
have
to anything,
information, but that doesn't but that's what I'm saying is that
yeah,
they
that doesn't
have
equate insider
information,
trading. But
obviously, but that doesn't mean that yes, they're actually going and moving on that information before everybody else has the information. And so that's like the main point is that yeah, you would have to actually have evidence that they're doing that and have like a pretty strong pattern of behavior in order to make the claim, but
yeah,
there's not really one.
there's
So
definitely there's an advantage, but I wouldn't say it's enough to say there's something criminal happening. Is what I'd say. I'd still prefer that I would rather a system where he paid more. I think we should pay Congress people like $500,000 to $1 million, and just restrict them from trading stocks or having any other investments at all. I think that would make a lot more sense. That's what a lot of really good countries do. They just pay them proportionally to what their job would be in the private sector at that level, which would be like a, probably executive position, obviously. But also, like, it is true. If Nancy Pelosi, if her goal was to just make money, they could have easily made more money in the private sector. Well, like easily made more money with just the private sector speaking fees. And also, I say that about the deep state bureaucrats they cry about too. The deep state bureaucrats are corrupting it, as we hear that from the richest man in human history. But these deep state bureaucrats are like public servants who are nerds that went to college to work on policy issues. I know a lot of them. They're harmless. They could be making more money in private sectors, but they do care about. They like having a government job. They like being able to serve people. They enjoy doing that. So the characterization of like deep state bureaucrats is just like another Project 2025 motto, another slogan to get people to hate government officials and government workers in general. And I know there's an uptick in death threats and everything. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't get too bad. But yeah, I guess we're just everyone keep doing their job. Everyone's media. Everyone who's watching this as well is media. If you see a post you like, share it. If you see a video that myself or Tom does, share it. That you think is going to be useful, have any utility for the world, share it. We need you to boost it as much as possible, especially because every algorithm goes against us. Every algorithm, YouTube, Facebook, leans heavily to the right. So we need help getting our stuff out there as much as possible. But yeah, I appreciate the chat, Tom. Anything else going on?
Nope. That's about it from my side. If you guys want to go chat with Joel, I guess he's probably going to do call-in soon. So head over. What is it now? Joel Politics Live?
I have Joel Talks Politics now.
Joel Talks Politics, and yeah, he'll you can go call in over there. And then yeah, I guess on your side, I'm Tom Foolery Show. If you guys want to argue with me about any bits, we're doing some call-ins here soon as well. So
yeah,
hit me
Tom
up.
Foolery Show. We both do call-in shows. If you ever want to talk, people that, and especially the MAGA trolls in my chat, go talk to Tom too, because he has a little bit of a different angle from me. So maybe you'll find a different experience there that'll get your brain a little bit more stimulated. Everyone has their own style, so definitely check everyone out. And also, if you want to call into a stream really bad, you can try calling into both of ours and see if one of us answer first, because it is a lottery system. But yeah.
I don't know. You were saying that you yell a lot, but I would say that when it comes to like call-ins and debates and shit, you don't yell half as much as I do. I like you, I don't think I ever really see you like getting super animated.
I'm more narrative grabbing though, right? I'm more narrative grabbing. I definitely talk more in like a worldly perspective of like, let's take a step back and think about this from like, all right, what does it mean for us as people? Like, what are you really saying here? Are you okay with this person? Like, do you really think when you look at Trump as a leader, like do you think he's a strong leader? Like I told this kid the other day, would he be a good like football captain? Because it compared to what the kid actually understood. I feel like I just contextualize it in the term. I also do a lot more of the posturing of like the rich are definitely doing class warfare. Like I'll still say things like that because I do believe that to be true, especially with like Praxis and Peter Thiel. But I lean more into that. I think that's probably the biggest thing.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, I will. I'll get back to you on Andrew and let you know when that's supposed to happen, and we'll make sure that we set that up soon.
Have a good rest of your stream, man.
Yeah, you guys watching Joel, make sure you guys subscribe because he's supposed to be having a big debate coming up.
Yeah, that actually could be a big debate if I performed. So we'll see. But yeah, definitely have a go. Yeah, he got 1 million views in one day with Cenk on Piers Morgan, so it's definitely could be a grab for sure.
Yeah, go watch my last debate with him because it is like what I would consider like the signature move of like delving into semantics, but then moving from one thing to another to where you never actually get to like round out the actual topic that you're on. You like it literally becomes impossible to the point where I just go straight into like memes and rhetorical arguments because it becomes obvious that there's no way I'm going to be.
Well, the dude's name was Big Papa Fascist, right? I knew that part of him, and then he's now like the paleo conservative whatever, and is like, well,
he was never actually a fascist. Like he it was always like a meme, like
Big but paleo conservatism essentially is like advocating for the same.
It's fairly close.
They want to push in the same direction, at least.
Fairly close. Yeah. Well, and then once you're like also like a Christian nationalist, then there is there's very small differences that exist at that point.
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna do like
Ashley
I'm gonna
thinks
watch the
that's
hearings and play a video game one of these nights. So I'll probably check it out that night then, probably sometime this weekend.
you and I used to play Call of Duty together, right? I'm not
I had a
misremembering
faint
that.
memory
We
of
used to
that. That
play
was actually 4 years ago though,
Yeah,
maybe more than 4 years ago.
yeah, I was just thinking about this the other day, and I'm like, I feel like it was Joel out that I used to play Call of Duty with all the time, but I'm not even sure anymore. I think we used to play, crap, it was a specific thing on,
Resurgence on the one
uh,
map where you can come back on the battle royale.
Resurgence. Yeah, yeah, it was a battle royale thing. Yeah, so yeah, we would play it for like hours at a time, just over and over and over. I don't think we ever won. I don't think we ever won a
No,
match.
that was like
There
pandemic
was
era
another guy
still. I'm
that
pretty sure that was like 2021.
it was it was yeah. There was another guy that I played with named Chow, who him and I won a number of times. Because he was just like very like tactical in the way that he played and very slow, and we played both the like drop in ones where like the map got smaller, and we played the like the big map uh, ones as well, and it was yeah, it was kind of insane.
Oh, that went way worse.
Sorry, there's one where you keep respawning. I think as long as you have somebody alive on your team or something like that, and
Yeah,
then eventually it
rebirth. It's
stops.
rebirth resurgence.
Rebirth, that's right. Resurgence, yes.
I have Black
We
Ops
played that
6
one the
too.
most, but
We have Black Ops 6 nights
I haven't
sometimes.
gotten it.
We're planning on doing a community prop hunt game of Black Ops 6 at some point, and that's cross platform too if you have that.
Okay.
Would that
Alright,
be
cool.
kind of fun
Well,
though? What if we were able to get teams, like a team from my community and team from yours, and do like 5v5 or something? That'd be kind of kind of funny.
do you play poker? There's actually been a guy who's been doing poker nights for political streamers, and even like he'll do like commentary streamers and drama streamers and all sorts of different people, and he'll do like poker nights and allow everybody to come hang out. And the last debate that Rob Nor and I had was we were like just sitting and playing poker the whole time, and ended up having a full debate about the lady in Pennsylvania who rejected the votes and said that she
Oh,
wanted to count them. She hopes it goes back to the courts, and then I'm calling him out for like the hypocrisy between like thinking that's bad, but not calling out Trump for the fake elector scheme. And then just like a kind of had like a full debate on that right after playing poker. So yeah, do you play Texas Hold'em at all?
yeah, I've played it. I know how to play.
Okay, well yeah. If you're interested, I'll tell him to put you on the invite list for the next game and see if you're available.
Yeah, definitely look at the. If you have any videos of that too, I could look it up, see what it's like. This seems like an interesting concept though. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that. All
Um,
right. Enjoy your stream. I'm gonna try
yeah.
to take one of these callers, I guess.
All right. Later, bro. Have a good one.
You too, sir. Tomfoolery, if you want to find them. Yeah, it's tomfoolery. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to get a snack. I don't know if I'm fully committed right now. I don't know if I'm fully committed, bro. No weak Democrats. What is praxis? Do calls? Don't tell me what to do. This guy's tomfoolery. The tomfoolery show. My back is killing me. Okay, I'm gonna do one more shorts reset. Okay, I'm gonna do one more shorts reset since I had a conversation about something else here with Tom real quick. I'm gonna reset my short stream. Go to the horizontal real quick. I'll do one more. It's gonna be 10:45. Let's just plan on. I'm gonna have the horizontal open. I'll put a video on or something. I'm gonna get a snack, and we'll plan to resume call-ins in the short stream at 11 p.m. Okay, 11 p.m. Eastern time in 15 minutes, and I'll go for an hour until midnight, and call it a night. Okay. So see you guys in the horizontal stream for now. Thank you. Yeah, Epoch, true. Sounds good. Thank you. Epoch, I need to talk about religion. So I could be prepared for my religious Debates. Come on, dude. All right, see you in the horizontal.